Kahit na may galing at talino ka, kung wala ka naman maayos, magandang pag-uugali, hindi ka rin makakapag-perform ng maayos.
Forging exit.
So lead to inspire. Hi, I am Norbie and I welcome you to another inspiring session of the Lead to Inspire series of the Nobleminds. Ang sabi nila, the world is VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And in the midst of all this, the question is, are you relevant? And how do you make yourself relevant? And today, what I'm going to talk about, in fact, is about making yourself relevant from a manager's perspective. Paano nga ba tinitingnan ng isang manager ang relevance, ang galing at kakayahan ng bawat empleyado upang mag-perform ng maayos sa isang kumpanya in the workplace? So the first thing that I'd like you to do is just have like 1 minute or 2 minutes to reflect on who you are as a person. So let's do self-assessment. Isipin nyo yung 3 bagay sa trabaho o sa workplace na para sa inyo ay nagagawa ninyo ng mabuti. You do best at work every day. On the other hand, mag-isip din naman kayo ng 3 bagay na gusto nyong i-improve sa sarili ninyo. 3 things that you'd like to improve at work every day. So basically, ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon ay tungkol sa understanding your competencies. I'd like to discuss first, ano ba yung competency model na tinatawag natin? So yung competency model, simple lang naman ito. Ano ba yung mga nandito? The KSAP, the knowledge, skills, abilities, and personal characteristics. So yung competencies na to, hiwalayin natin, hatiin natin sa dalawa. The competency and the other one is yung character. So when we talk of competency, the focus is on knowledge, skills, and abilities. On the other hand, pagka sinabi naman nating character, we refer to the physical, personal characteristics and the behavior that you bring in the workplace every day. So kung titingnan kasi natin, pagka sinabi natin competency model, madali lang naman nating maintindihan yung galing or kakayahan ng isang empleyado. For example, nag-apply kayo ng trabaho, tapos sinasabi dito na kailangan marunong kayong mag-type ng 100 words per minute, for example. So that means you are competent because you meet the minimum requirement. But it's not just the knowledge and the skills that you bring in at work that is important. What is also important is yung character ninyo, yung personal characteristics ninyo that you bring, the personal self that you bring at work. Because basically, apart from the competency na meron tayo, yung skill sets na meron tayo, meron din naman tayong mga personal characteristics, qualities, behaviors that we bring in the workplace, which also affect our performance in the workplace. Kasi, kahit na may galing at talino ka, kung wala ka naman maayos, magandang pag-uugali, hindi ka rin makakapag-perform ng maayos. Why? Because the relationship aspect of the personality that you bring in the workplace may affect the total environment in the workplace in terms of how do you perform at work. So, ibig sabihin nito, pagka sinabi nating competency, meron kayong set of skills, knowledge, and abilities. Yung kakayahan ninyo, yung galing ninyo, yung talento ninyo na dinadala ninyo sa trabaho. Importante para ma-accomplish ang isang trabaho. But on the other hand, you also bring your personal characteristics, your personal self to the workplace. Kung ano yung pag-uugali mo, kung ano yung motivation mo, kung ano yung behavior mo, lahat ng ito, dinadala natin sa trabaho. Kaya pagsasamahin natin yung competency and character, na competency, meron siyang knowledge, skills, and abilities, and then yung character, it's about your behavior, your motivation, and personal characteristics. Kaya pag-uusapan natin ngayon, how do you strike a balance between your competency and your character for you to become more relevant in the workplace? Pagka sinabi nating character, who are you in the workplace? What kind of person or what kind of self do you bring at work every day? Ano yung sarili na dinadala natin sa workplace every day? Usually kasi naapektuhan tayo ng problema na meron tayo sa bahay. That's number 1. Naapektuhan din tayo ng mga bagay na nakikita natin sa social media. Naapektuhan tayo ng mga bagay na nakikita natin sa community natin. These are some of the things that in fact influence us, that affect the self that we bring in the workplace. So, importante na malaman natin yan. Tanungin natin, ano ba yung sariling dinadala natin sa trabaho na makakaapekto kapag ka nagsimula na tayong magtrabaho? So, it's important to know na kung titingnan natin yung character natin, yung personal characteristics, the motivation, the behavior that we emulate in the workplace, ang tanong ko, ano ba ang sinasabi ng mga co-workers mo about your personal characteristics? It has to be defined, it has to be cleared. Probably you can ask your colleagues by asking the question, para sa inyo, okay ba yung attitude ko? The way mag-perform ako sa trabaho, paano ako makipag-relate sa inyo bilang katrabaho ninyo? I think these are simple things that you can do, simple questions that you can ask with your colleagues, from your colleagues, and you will know the answer. And from there, you would have a grasp or a feel of who you are as a person as regards the kind of personality that you bring in the workplace. So, importante na malaman natin kung ano yung character or personal characteristics, the personal self that you bring at work every day. But aside from that, aside from the character or personal characteristics, importante din naman na malaman natin yung competency natin. So, who are you at work in terms of your set of skills, knowledge, abilities that you bring in the workplace? Kanina tinanong ko kayo, what are the 3 things na nagagawa mo ng mabuti sa trabaho? Now, let's focus on that. Ano ba yung 3 bagay na nagagawa nyo ng mabuti sa trabaho? Can you identify them? Probably, you do all these things at work and you perform them best at work because of your competency. Yung ability natin na gamitin yung ating skills, yung knowledge, and of course, aptitudes and abilities para ma-perform or magawa natin yung trabaho. So kung makikita natin, pagka sinabing competent, tong tao na to ay competent, meaning to say, yung set of skills na meron ka at ginagamit mo can yield, of course, can help you to do critical work functions in the workplace that define your performance. So, madali lang naman kapag ka sinabing marunong mag-drive, so that can be part of your skills and abilities. Marunong mag-analyze ng information, that can be part of your knowledge, skills, and abilities. And then, marunong mag-compute using a particular formula, marunong gumamit ng Excel using different formula. These are part of your competency under your knowledge, skills, and abilities. So, 2 factors ang sinabi ko. The first one is your character, which refers to your personal self, the kind of self that you bring at work in terms of your motivation, in terms of your personal characters, and your behavior. On the other hand, when we talk of competency, these are the set skills, abilities, and knowledge that you bring in the workplace. So, kailangan nating pagsamahin yon to make yourself relevant. But going back to the question, kung in this VUCA world, how do you know that you are relevant? Kasi biglang nagbago with what happened. Like for example, sa pandemic, biglang nagbago. Biglang, all of a sudden, nagkaroon tayo ng mga pagbabago mula sa pupunta ka sa office, biglang kailangan mag-work from home tayo. Dito natin malalaman yung tanong na, are you relevant or how do you make yourself relevant? The first question is, this is something that I'd like to share with you. Kung relevant ka, how do you know that you are relevant? In fact, doon sa isang company where I recently conducted a training on leadership, I found out na dahil maraming mga middle-aged and above middle-aged na mga empleyado dito, the first thing na naintindihan nila at naunawaan nila na wala sila is digital literacy, digital knowledge. Takot silang gumamit ng computer, takot silang gumamit ng, hindi nila alam kung paano gumamit ng Zoom during yung mga meeting. So, that's it. So, they realized na they thought na magaling sila. But when they started to assess, given the fact that it's VUCA world at nagkaroon ng pandemic, nagkaroon ng total change in the way we work. The office is no longer the office that we see, that we go to every day, but the office has become so virtual, or our home is also our office. So number one, nakita namin na maraming mga empleyado na they lack digital knowledge, digital literacy. Kung meron man sila, they are afraid, meron silang fear, natatakot sila to explore digital technologies. So, they begin to realize na number one, kailangan pala nilang i-improve yung digital knowledge nila. So, we realize na kailangan bumalik, bigyan sila ng skills training on how to use the internet, on how to explore the computer, or even how to use yung mga platform that we use for communication like Zoom, like Google Meet, or whatever platform it is. So, importante na malaman natin, and I think with what happened today, yung sa pandemic, number one is skill na kailangan ng mga empleyado is digital literacy or digital knowledge. The second one is, napag-usapan din namin na problem-solving skills is very important. Dati kasi, ang ginagawa natin ay, kung ano lang sasabihin ng boss ko, ganito, ganon, susundin ko lang. And sometimes we don't solve problems in the office. Pero ngayon, ano yung kailangan sa atin in terms of problem-solving skills? So, dapat makita natin, ma-identify natin yung problem, and we have to spot the problem and then know the solution. Parang ine-expect sa atin ngayon na we have to deliver something. So, in the process, walang problema na may encounter yung boss mo because in your end, meron ng problema pero na-solutionan mo na. Kasi nga, given our present context na pandemic, tapos may mga bagay na po pwede mo nang masolusyonan katulad ng kailangan mong information kasi pwede mo naman gamitin yung Google, mag-search ka, yung lahat ng kailangan mo, they are already searchable in the internet. So I think that's another thing. Problem-solving skills is very important. The third one is communication. So kanina sinabi ko na nga yung digital literacy, digital knowledge, kasi the way we communicate, the channel is very important. And everything today, dahil work from home ang setup natin, anong ginagawa natin? We have to use Zoom, we have to use Google Meet, we have to use different platforms, or even yung Viber, yung mga messenger, so WhatsApp, lahat ng ito ay po pwede natin gamitin for communication. So the communication that we used to know, yung pakikipag-usap in the workplace, is also the kind of communication that we need now. But in terms of communication, kailangan maging adept tayo in using different platforms. And then at the same time, we have to be very clear with the message that we're going to send, with the intention that we'd like our colleagues or yung kasama natin sa trabaho or even our boss would like that we want them to know. So communication skills, very important pa rin siya. Well, technically, trade and technical skills sa mga companies na katulad niyan, yung blasting, yung painting, these are trade and technical skills. So ang problema natin ngayon, lalo na I think yung mga graduates natin, they lack that technical or trade skills na kailangan nilang ma-acquire bago sila pumasok sa trabaho, or sometimes in reality what happens is that itong mga empleyado na to, pag na-hire sila, they don't have the skills, pero may ibang aspeto na meron kaya na-hire sila, but they will be given training. Pero I think importante na yung trade and technical skill, you have to know saan ka magaling, you have to figure it out para kapag ka nag-apply ka ng trabaho or sa trabaho mismo, yung trade or technical skill na meron ka, that's very important. Okay? Next is being a team player is important. People skill. Therefore, leadership is important. Hindi kailangan na sabihin mo sa sarili mo na hindi naman ako yung boss, so gagawin ko lang kung anong pinagagawa sa akin because hindi naman nga ako yung boss. But honestly, the challenge to our set of workers today, is that they have to have that people skill. They have to have that connection. They can create and influence other people. So leadership is about, I think it's really about making yourself relevant in terms of leadership. Dapat mataas yung inyong people skill. Dapat you are a leader in your own rights. Because yung challenge sa atin ngayon is no longer to create more followers in the workplace, but the challenge now is to create more leaders in the workplace. So to become a team player, dapat magaling kang makikonnect sa ibang tao. Dapat may influence ka sa ibang tao. Yung social network mo within the workplace is very important. So you have to have people skill or leadership skill in the workplace. Time management is also important. Yung time management, of course, I think importante na malaman natin na sa trabaho, ano ba yung pinaka-importanting dapat natin ma-accomplish in a day? That's just it. Pareto principle tells us na 20% accounts for like 80% of our accomplishment. I think it means that yung pinakamahirap na trabaho, you have to start it the first thing in the morning. So, just like in my case, I wake up every day. I wake up at 4 in the morning. So, yung lahat ng mahirap na trabaho, gagawin ko na between 4 to 7 a.m. Para pagkatapos nun, sa 9 o'clock na nasa office ako, ibig sabihin nun, hindi na ganong mahirap yung mga gagawin kong trabaho. Time management is very important. It's really about knowing what to prioritize. Do not aim to accomplish everything that's in your things to do list. But what is important is you have to identify what is the 20% of the most important thing that you have to accomplish in that day. And from there, pagka nagawa mo yon, I think na-accomplish mo na yun almost 80% of what you are supposed to deliver on that day. So time management is very important. You have to know how to manage your time. You have to prioritize. I think there's another one, no? Parang, I think ngayon kailangan hindi na tayo dapat sabihin, hindi ko kayang gawin yan eh. Ito lang naman yung trabaho ko, bakit kailangan ko pang tumanggap ng iba pang trabaho? Remember, in our present context, we want people to be agile. Mabilis silang kumilos, magaling gumawa ng desisyon, magaling mag-produce ng output, magaling mag-create ng value for customers or clients. So I think it is important that people in the workplace today should always be willing and very accepting of the challenges. Hindi tayo pwedeng magreklamo at sabihin natin hindi natin kaya yan. Kasi pagka sinabi mong hindi mo kaya, then that is a question of your relevance at work. Okay? So, I think these are some of the things na kailangan sa workplace ngayon. Mga bagay, mga competencies, knowledge, skills, abilities na kailangan sa workplace. But apart from that, meron din tayong personal characteristics, yung motivation natin, yung behavior na dinadala natin sa trabaho. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, na yung people skill or leadership skill, it is something na hindi naman natin naaral sa eskwelahan. But in fact, as we go along in the workplace, meron tayong natural tendency na madali tayong mag-connect sa tao. Meron naman iba kasing tao na yung kanilang intelligence, meron kasing 9 kinds of intelligence. Meron mga tao na yung intelligence nila is intrapersonal, na okay sa kanila na sila lang, okay sa kanila na sila lang nagtatrabaho without others around them, okay yon. But there's another kind of intelligence which is the interpersonal. Ito yung people smart, yung people skill. Yung ito, part to, I believe, part to ng character because you cannot develop and build good relationship with other people kung wala kang mabuting character or personality. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ka magiging successful. With all the things na na-discuss ko, importante na malaman natin na yung tanong na, are you relevant? So, let's focus on what are the skills that you have now? What are the competencies, set of skills, knowledge, and abilities that you have now? And then, you also want to know what are the set of skills, knowledge, and abilities that is expected of me given the fact na pandemic na. And then from there, Nalaman mo yung meron kang competencies, nalaman mo kung ano yung requirements. Ang tanong ngayon, what are you going to improve in terms of your competencies, skills, knowledge, and abilities? I think importante na mai-assess natin ang sarili natin in terms of the kind of competencies that you have, yung mga bagay na meron kang galing, talino at kakayahan, pero hindi naman lahat ito nagagamit mo sa trabaho. Kasi sa panahon ngayon, marami pang set of skills na kailangan pero wala tayo. Kaya importante na ma-identify natin ano yung mga set of skills na dapat nating ma-acquire, na dapat nating ma-improve at dapat nating ma-develop. So the question now is, are you relevant? Ang hirap sagutin. Pero I'm sure when you start knowing what do you do best at work, what are the set of competencies that you have which you believe can help you do your job at work perfectly, pero hindi naman lahat ng set of skills natin ay nagagamit natin. Tapos, tignan natin ngayon, meron naman set of skills. Tanungin ninyo yung manager ninyo, ano po ba yung set of skills na kailangan ng isang empleyado ngayon? So, they can identify. I think yung mga sinabi ko kanina, digital literacy, digital knowledge, that's very basic. Well, sa mga millennials, it's not a problem. Pero papaano kung ikaw ay digital migrant? You belong to the baby boomer. Natatakot kang gumamit ng computer. Pero sa trabaho mo ngayon, importante na gumamit ka ng computer, alam mong mag-explore ng Google, alam mong mag-explore sa internet. Kasi you need to find information. You need data. So, ayun yung requirement ngayon. And so, sa gitna, alamin mo, ano yung dapat mong i-improve. So, pwedeng sabihin mo, you have your people skill. People skill or leadership skill, okay, you're very good in networking, social connections, that's great. Tapos, dito, ano pa yung requirement sa atin? So, dapat magaling ka, problem solver. Okay, so, you have to ask yourself, as a leader, based on how I perform, based on how I connect with other people, meron ba akong aspeto na kaya kong mag-solve ng problem and mag-deliver ng output na kinakailangan beyond the standards? Kung wala ka nun, so you have to identify what is it that you need to improve, to acquire, or to develop as a skill. So ngayon ang question ko nga kanina is, are you relevant? Or if you think that you're not 100% relevant in the workplace, ang tanong is, what are you going to do to improve yourself and to become more relevant? I think I can share with you 5 things. Number 1, use your extra time for self-improvement. You have to read. Pag gumamit tayo ng social media, wag natin siyang gamitin sa pagkukuha ng chismis, not just for entertainment, but you also have to use technology, use your time, extra time, to take advantage of the digital world today. Pwede ka mag-attend ng mga free webinars kung saan matututo ka. So, importante na gamitin natin yung mga extra na oras natin sa pagbabasa or attending mga free online courses or webinars. Number 2, I think you have to take advantage, as I've said, yung digital technologies na meron tayo ngayon to acquire and learn new things. Marami tayo ngayon ng mga online courses na sinabi ko kanina. Pero I think may mga online courses na they are not for free. Pero kung titignan mo, you need to acquire the skills, knowledge, and abilities that they are offering. And so you have to enroll. So enroll in online courses. Kasi the good thing about online courses is that sometimes you can do it synchronously and asynchronously. So, I think meron kang tamang oras para mag-aral. Meron naman ding oras na nakalaan kung papaano kayo mag-meet ng synchronous or face-to-face using, of course, a digital technology. So, importante yon. Take advantage of the digital technology to acquire new things. Mag-enroll tayo sa mga online courses, yung mga seminars or webinars na meron tayo ngayon, please do so. And then number 3, I think, you have to know yung mga bagay na ginagawa ng mga competitors. You have to know yung best things na ginagawa ng ibang companies. You have to know kung ano yung mga best practices ng mga taong tinitingala mo, iniidolo mo, yung source ng inspiration mo. Or just simply ask your colleague, ask them, bakit ang galing mo sa trabaho? What are your best practices? What are the recipe for performing better in the workplace? You can ask them. So, identify lang din. Tanungin mo kung ano yung mga bagay na perfectly ginagawa nila and what is the secret to that. I think they can share with you yung mga simple things, mga simple habits that they do para po pwede mo silang i-acquire kung sakasakaling wala ka nun. Number 4, importante na magkaroon tayo ng coach or mentor. Yung coaching, of course, in the workplace, pinapractice natin to na pagka may isa kang bagay na hindi mo kayang gawin, there's a coach who will help you, who will guide you, tutulungan ka nila, tuturuan ka nila kung paano. You can even ask your boss, your manager, Sir, ma'am, hindi ko po kaya to, baka po pwede nyo akong i-coach. That's very important. And then someone who can mentor you as well, someone who works from the organization or even yung kaibigan mo or yung kakilala mo, yung tao na iniidolo mo, baka po pwede mong tanungin na, can you mentor me? Kasi I want to improve myself and I want to become relevant in the workplace, not just in the workplace, yung mismong existence natin bilang isang individual. I think we can always find people na who can coach and mentor us. Just like in my case, I think importante yon in the development process na meron ka mga kaibigan, kakilala na mas matanda sa'yo, mas mataas ang posisyon. And then, I think I have accomplished so much in life. Tapos, what they are willing to do is to share their recipe, their mature talent, and probably share with us yung mga knowledge na na-acquire nila over the years, yung wisdom. And with that, you can incorporate all those things sa sarili mo to become a better person. And of course, it is important na sa leadership, sabi ko nga kanina, it's an influence relationship. Always develop network within the industry, not just within the industry, even outside of your community, or even, of course, in other organizations. Do not forget na with developing network with other organizations, being a member of different organizations, that can expand our knowledge, that can expand our network, that can expand our circle of influence. And I think, over the years, makikita mo na nakakaagapay ka, sumasabay ka, you are abreast with change, and you're becoming a better person every day. And with that, you can answer the question, are you relevant? Nothing is more exciting than seeing other people maximizing and utilizing their full potentials. And that is the noble purpose of the Nobleminds. And if you want to see yourself becoming a better version of who you are today, just keep on watching the Nobleminds Lead to Inspire series. And if you are grateful and thankful and you've learned something from what I have just discussed and shared with you today, then please follow us and share our noble purpose. And together, we can affect change, because at the Nobleminds, we always believe that we lead to inspire.